The first thing many people will notice about this profile is that he's a surgeon. But interestingly, that's not even the most important thing about his profile. What actually stood out for me was his self-awareness. At 40 years old, never married, no children, professionally accomplished. He doesn't come across as desperate, bitter, or frustrated. Instead, he comes across as someone who understands himself very, very well. For example, he says, I'm a lover boy, but I don't love often. Now, that's a very interesting statement. What I hear is a man who doesn't connect easily. Not because he can't, but because he doesn't just hand out his emotions to anyone he meets, to everyone he comes across. This is likely someone who has met many women over the years, but only feels deeply connected to a selected few. And then he says something else that caught my attention. He mentioned that he has met amazing people before. Not once, not twice, but somehow things didn't work out. Again, I want you to notice something. He did not blame anyone. He didn't say, fear women. I can't see bitterness in his talk. There's no complaint in our conversation. Not women are this, women are that. Instead, he simply accepts that sometimes two good people meet and life doesn't align them together. That tells me there's a level of emotional maturity here. Okay, now let's talk about this kind of ideal woman is looking for. Is kind of woman. He specifically mentioned that he wants someone in academia or on a career path. Some people may just hear this and like, he's speaking. I don't necessarily think so, actually, because I think what is really communicating is that he values intellectual companionship. He wants a woman he can talk to, a woman he can share ideas with, a woman who is curious about life, a woman who is also busy. The other time I said, it's like you need a woman who will also be busy. And he said, Jane, you got it right. Someone who is busy. A woman who can engage him mentally. Something like that. This is a man who appears to be attracted to intelligence. Intellectual romance gets him more, just as much as appearance. Then there's this height of conversation that will actually trigger the emotional aspect. Actually find it quite interesting and refreshing. So most men will avoid discussing something like that. He openly says he's a short man and would appreciate a woman who is not shorter than him. Okay, if you are shorter than me, you are too short. That's vulnerability, that's honesty. And sincerely, I find it very attractive. Now, can we talk about the picture situation? Because honestly, that was my favorite part. When I asked him for his picture, I was like, okay, doc, send me your picture. I cannot profile you without your picture. He said, tell them I'm a ghost. Oh my God. Then he followed it up with, I promise you, I'm not crippled. I'm not just a camera person. And then he said, Jane, I didn't know this is an emergency. Like, who will tell a matchmaker after you have paid and matchmaker now is the one pestering you? He paid though. Ladies, this is where personality starts showing. This is someone with a sense of humor. Someone who doesn't take himself too seriously. I wish I had a sister. Maybe I would have given him. This is someone who is probably more fun in real life than in his profile. Now, the big question is, why is a man like this still single? And let me tell you my pure assessment. He's single not because he cannot attract women. He's single not because women don't like him, but because he appears highly selective. And this highly selectivity is salient. This is the kind of man that appreciates women, he appreciates beauty, he appreciates women, but we only connect with a few. I've shown him few profiles and I like them. At the end of the day, nothing is really clicking. He's looking for something specific, not perfection, not a trophy, not just beauty. He's looking for compatibility. The kind where conversation flows effortlessly like healthy conversation. The kind where friendship comes naturally. The kind where it genuinely feels seen and understood. So if you're a woman listening to this analysis, I would encourage you to look beyond the title of sojourn. Look beyond the age. Look beyond the statistics. Pay attention to the character traits. That character trait is actually hidden in his profile. He has a sense of humor, honesty, self-awareness, emotional maturity, and intentionality. Because sometimes the best profiles are not the loudest. They are the ones quietly telling you exactly who they are. That is why I encourage people, when I send a profile to you, take your time and look at it very well. Read it, if possible, find meaning. And to the right woman, this profile may be saying a lot more than meets the eye. If this profile resonates with you, reach out to the Odogo Janesdiary, the Achalugo herself, and then let's see how it goes. If you're a gold digger, avoid this post. Avoid me. If you are coming for matchmaking on credit, avoid me. Thank you.